Welcome to Our Highest Work, a podcast where we are gathering and sharing the best ideas for spiritually based business success. My name is George Cao, and today we're going to talk about how to launch your services, your products, your programs. Most of you who are listening to this, watching this, are interested in launching service-based businesses, so that's what I'll be focusing on. But I think you can apply these principles to launch many types of ventures. So I hope this episode will be useful for you. And before I get started, I just want to thank those of you who have been giving me your very thoughtful and kind feedback about, and useful feedback about the podcast. I posted a request last Friday in the Our Highest Work Facebook group, as well as emailing it out to those who are on the Our Highest Work mailing list, about feedback on how to improve the podcast, and I received a number of great responses, and I will be implementing those soon. I haven't even had a chance to really sit down and carefully look at the responses and see what the themes are and seeing what I want to implement. So I just want to first thank you for those responses, and if you are listening to this and want to offer your response and how this podcast can be improved to better serve you, I welcome your suggestions. And you can go to ourhighestwork.com/contact, and that's how you can find a way to contact me or to even offer your suggestions anonymously as well. So with that, let's go right into the episode. The quote of today is from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it says, "Don't be too timid or squeamish about your actions. All life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better." I'll say this one more time. Do not be too timid or squeamish about your actions. All of life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better. And I came across this quote, I think it was in my early 20s, but it was my younger years, and it has stuck with me ever since. It really, I considered it my favorite quote for years, and I'm so glad I really let it ingrain in my consciousness, because that's how I develop businesses now. That's how I do my marketing now, and I think that that's how a lot of successful entrepreneurs do their business and their marketing. They don't take anything too seriously. It's all experimentation. If you take things in your business serious, like real serious, like if you launch something and it's like having a baby, right? When you have a baby, you need to take it very, very seriously. Obviously, it's a matter of life and death. You invest your identity and your hopes for the future onto that baby. You hope they will grow up to be wise and strong and supportive of you and other people. So you have a lot of hopes and dreams for that. And you kind of have this one chance. If the birth doesn't go well, and the baby, something's happened to the baby, it's devastating, right? But when we launch businesses, when we launch marketing campaigns, when we launch products or services or programs, I invite you not to think of it as having a baby, but I invite you to think of it as flying a paper airplane. And I will eventually come up with an actual paper airplane to show you. But you know what I mean. You take a piece of paper, you fold it into an airplane, and you fly the paper airplane just for fun, right? And or sometimes people do it because they are really serious about seeing how good they can build a paper airplane. And your business is like that. You want to build a paper airplane that flies in a very smooth and efficient way, and it flies beautifully, and the airplane itself looks beautiful. But when you first start making a paper airplane, you don't invest your hopes and dreams and your identity into this. You do the paper airplane and you try flying it, and if it just crashes, you don't cry and weep and give up and become discouraged and let it affect your self-worth. No, you pick up the paper airplane, you straighten out the nose, maybe you adjust the wings a little bit, and then you try flying it again. And maybe this time, you notice it flies a little bit to the left, and then it crashes. All right, now you pick it back up, you adjust the wings so that it flies a little bit more smoothly, a little bit more in the direction you want it to go, and then you launch it again. and this time it flies a little bit more smoothly, but it doesn't go as far as you want. So you pick it back up, maybe you adjust the tail a little bit, okay? Maybe you add some more weight to the bottom of it or something, and then you launch it again. So you keep launching and adjusting that paper airplane until it flies in the most graceful and purposeful way. You know, and you might even want to take the paper airplane and you design it so it looks more beautiful to you and to other people who are seeing this. So this is how we launch businesses. This is how we launch products and services and programs. By we, I really should mean this is how I've noticed successful entrepreneurs do it. So I invite you to, so what does this mean? This paper airplane analogy means that you launch more often, and you think of every launch as an experiment. And you think of every launch as what can I learn from this experience to make my next launch more successful. So every time I launch something, I'm always thinking about how I can adjust something in the next launch to make it more successful. Does that make sense? So that's a perspective that I want to start this episode with. Now let's go and look directly at the mind map. And for those of you who have been following these episodes, you know that I've been going over my Simple Livelihood mind map, particularly the matching section, and that's where the launch strategies are that I want to show you. So let's take a look at that right now. And for those of you who are just listening, I know most of you, something like 98% of the podcast listenership is just listening by audio. And so if you're just listening and you want to see this video later, you can go to ourhighestwork.com/47, since this is episode 47. Again, www.ourhighestwork.com/47 to watch the actual video. And for the mind map itself, the link is www.georgecow, that's K-A-O, georgecow.com/map. Okay? And so let's now look at this mind map, and let me share with you the launch strategies, and then I'm going to share with you some of the common questions that I got regarding launching successfully. So let's go into the matching node. And in the previous episode, we talked about these yellow items, and the episode before that, episode 45, we talked about the blue items. So if you want to get instruction and coaching on that, you can just go and look at those. But today we're going to talk about the green items. Okay, so about launching and things like that. So let's go ahead and open this up. All right, let's open up the launch node. And here I've given you the launch process, launch trajectory, launch principles, and then the solutions to common challenges in launching. So again, for those of you who are listening, I'm going to do my best to just share and say what we're seeing on the screen, and then you can go and watch the video later for more detail and go and get the mind map for more detail. All right, so go ahead and I'm going to click on this to talk about the launch process. Now, this is my launch process. Well, I've written my launch process in a way that's more generic, that's more easily applicable by other people. So I hope you'll benefit from this. So first of all, the thing about the launch process is, how does someone who is not your customer, not your client, how did they find you, right? So they might find you through a referral from other clients, or a friend who has seen your free, blog, or your free videos, or your free podcast, or something like that. So they get to you through either a referral or through a visibility activity that you're doing, your blog, your talk in a particular event, your podcast, etc. And then once they discover you, right, they start to follow your content. And your content, again, they can follow your content if you email them, if you send an email to your email list on a regular basis. Email list, I like to use, my suggested tool is MailChimp.com. That's MailChimp.com. That's the tool that I use, MailChimp, MailChimp.com. So I send, currently I send a once a month email to my email list, basically giving them some of my best content from the past month. So that's how I keep in touch, and that's how my people follow me on my email list. They might follow you on social media. So if you have a Facebook timeline or fan page, or if if you've created a Facebook group, we've talked about that in the past before as well. Or if you have Twitter or LinkedIn or something like that, they might follow you. You might have a blog. They might follow you through a podcast like this one, right? So they start to follow your content after they discover you, and then once they start to follow you, they start to trust you more. They start to trust that you have their best interest in mind, meaning people like them, like you really want to help them with whatever it is you help people with, right? And next, when you are ready to launch your next program, or you're ready to launch your services again or your products again, you might want to create some special introductory content that's related to your services. I'm going to say services from now on because most of those who are watching this or listening are launching service-based businesses, but you could substitute product or program for services. So you might want to create some special introductory content. Sometimes people call this a free offer. Sometimes people call it a freebie, or even an opt-in incentive. Opt-in meaning opting into your email list. And some examples of special intro content is a special report, where a special report is like a PDF document where it helps the audience member solve some specific small problem related to the business owner's expertise. And it could be like 3 ways to, like if you were a health coach, for example, it might be the 3 most important changes to make in your health, and that special report might be anywhere between 5 to 20 pages that give overview content about the 3 most important changes to their health. Obviously, if you were a health coach, hopefully you have more information than just 5 to 20 pages. But don't make it so super dense. Make it very readable, so people actually consume the special report, actually read it, and actually benefit from it. And if they benefit. And other types of free offers or special intro content is like worksheets, or maybe a series of blog posts, or it might be like a live webinar. Let's see here. It might be like a live webinar. It might be a video series. It could be a podcast episode. And so make it. And I've given you in this mind map some principles for creating introductory content. And so principles include things like think like a newbie. So it's easy for you as an expert to talk in ways that overwhelm your audience. And I myself am really learning that right now. I have discovered, I have learned just from feedback, or sometimes lack of feedback, that the things I share with you all are probably too overwhelming for most people listening to this. It's too dense. It's too much content. Maybe not enough entertainment. I don't know. So think from the point of view of a person who wants to learn from you and who wants your services, but is nowhere near your level of expertise. So really think like a newbie, right? The more you can communicate the concepts to like a beginner, the more successful your introductory content tends to be in terms of getting people interested in your services. And the analogy I like to use is like, Aikido is a martial art that I'm a fan of, and in Aikido, in a good Aikido studio dojo, even the black belts tend to come and practice some of the beginner concepts, just like the white belt. The people just beginning, they practice certain beginner moves. Well, the black belts, the most advanced people, are also interested in practicing the beginner moves because they know that the beginner moves are foundational, and if they do the beginner moves well, everything else is built upon that. So, in other words, if you talk to a newbie, if you talk in a beginner kind of way, you will be helping the beginners as well as being entertaining to the advanced people. So you would rather talk in a beginner way than talk in an advanced way that only advanced people can understand and losing everybody else. Does that make sense? Plus, it's the beginners or the intermediates that are going to use your services anyway, probably. It's not the advanced people. The advanced people can do it themselves. Or, yeah, so think like a newbie. Another principle is to make your content more engaging, and I have a whole mind map, additional mind map called how to make content more engaging, and I've given the link in as part of the principles there, and so you can take a look at this how to make content more engaging. There's basically a lot of great help here for you for that. Okay. And finally, another principle is to explain the one best worldview from your perspective. So think about this. For your ideal client, what is the best way for them to solve the problem that you help them solve? What's the pathway to help solve the problem you help them solve, or to get to the goal you help them get to? Yes, there are probably 100 ways they could solve the problem, or 100 ways they can get to the goal. But you don't teach 100 ways. Hopefully you really help people solve the problem in one best way from your viewpoint, or you should say the one best way for a particular type of problem for a particular type of person. So for example, someone who is a Reiki master, right? That's their one best worldview. And that's not the best worldview for everyone, but it's the best worldview for solving certain problems for certain people. For the Reiki master, they're not going to say, well, I'm a Reiki master, but I'll tell you 100 different ways to solve the problem. No, they'll say, let me tell you about Reiki. Let me tell you why it's so powerful for certain problems and for certain people, right? And for certain situations. Does that make sense? If you explain the one best worldview in your introductory content, it will really help people to understand that worldview and to trust you and to be interested in your services. And that's one of the mistakes that I make, right, in my introductory content, which you can consider all my podcasts, all my free content is introductory, because I give away all my content these days. I talk about all kinds of ways to solve problems, and I'm trying to learn to, all of this mind map stuff is for me as well, all right? I'm learning along with you all. And so anyway, I hope that's helpful. Okay. So once you have a free introductory offer, then when you are ready to launch your program, you announce that free offer to the various channels. Now, did I say that you should fully create your services, fully create your product before you launch it? I did not say that. Smart entrepreneurs, I find, tend to just create the introductory content, and then they have an outline of their services, a web page basically, that describes the overview of their services or the overview of their product or program. And then they sell it, they launch it, they announce it in their various visibility channels. Okay, they announce it on their email list or through social media or through their podcast, etc. And they see if anyone buys. Remember, launching paper airplanes, right? Smart entrepreneurs are always launching. They launch frequently, and they don't take any one launch very seriously. So they just launch like a paper airplane and go, okay, let's see if people buy this thing. They haven't even built the product yet, or they haven't manufactured a warehouse full of product, or they haven't spent 3 years creating the service before they try to launch it. They launch it early and often to see if people even want it. Then if people want it, they will then build the product, or they will then build the program module by module, or build the service module by module. Does that make sense? That's how I've launched all my programs and services, and that's what I recommend for you as well. And here is the truth of the matter, is that when you do this, your service will be better than if you took a year in your own room to create the perfect service and try to market it. Because if you do it yourself, if you try to create the service without market feedback, without feedback from actual potential clients or actual clients, your service won't be as well fit, won't be as well designed truly to help them out. But if you launch with just an outline, and by an outline I mean a sales page. Remember the last episode we talked about sales page. That's what I hope you will launch with. You don't have to spend a year creating your perfect service. Just spend a month creating a decent sales page. The first time you do it, it might take a month just to brainstorm and do all this stuff and get some, maybe get some web design work done or whatever, a graphic designer. But just spend, the first time might take a month, and the next time you improve your sales page, it might only take 2 weeks. But launch just with your sales page without having perfected your service yet, without even having built your service. See if the market wants it. And if the market wants it, then you can build your service bit by bit. And one of the common questions I get is, well, George, what if people buy my service and then I haven't yet built it yet? Well, the answer is if they buy it and you have a coaching program to offer and you're like, oh my gosh, people bought it and it's August 1st, they bought it, then you could tell them, hey, listen, the coaching program will begin on September 1st with the first module, and from now until September 1st, I'm going to thank you for signing up the coaching program first, and I'm going to give you free coaching once a week. It could be through a group call or whatever you can offer. Do you see what I mean? So you can always offer them something for free before you can put the first module or first part of your service together. Okay, so you announce your launch via the various visibility channels. They find and read your sales page, which we just talked about. Okay, if they have any questions, they might contact you. Each time you launch, you make some improvements to your sales page. It's an iterative process. It's a gradually improving process throughout the lifetime of your business. Make sense? It may be helpful to offer a 15 to 30-minute free call to the prospective client to gauge whether it's a good fit for them and for you. Okay? Some people call this a free consultation, or a strategy session, or a discovery session, exploratory call, something like that. Okay, so based on having that conversation with you and reading your sales page, they determine whether it's a good fit. You help them determine that, and then they buy your thing. They buy your service or hire you for your service. Okay, and I've given you some sample launch emails directly in this mind map. The links are right here in the mind map to actually check out. So these are actual emails that I use that have been helpful. So actually, it's still loading. There's that image right there. So okay. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go on. That's the general launch process. Again, I've made it generic so that most people can apply it. Yours might have fewer steps, or yours might have more detailed steps besides these, but that's the general process that I've used successfully, and I've watched many other people use successfully. Okay? There you go. There's the launch process. Now let's talk about the launch trajectory. The launch trajectory. What I mean by launch trajectory is sort of like in the lifetime of your business, you go through 4 levels for your launches. The first level, okay, is where you don't have a big network of true fans yet, so you may need on the first level to personally contact as many prospective clients as you need to fill your services, to fill your coaching program, whatever it is you're trying to sell. And you always start with your warm contacts. You always start with your warm contacts. And I've given you some instructions on how to do that in the visibility node. In the visibility node, there is the thing called Gather Your Warm Contacts. So do check that out for instructions on how to start with your warm contacts. So that's really level 1, right? Oh yeah, referral strategy. That's part of level 1, is to really start using your referral strategy. So that's also given to you in the mind map. Is detailed instructions on that. So what I mean by level 1 is you are not popular enough where you just announce something and then people sign up for it. You may need to privately message some people on Facebook. You may need to privately call some prospective clients. You may need to hire someone to privately contact some people. You can hire someone by going to odesk.com, and you can search Odesk for people who do lead generation. Lead generation is something to search. The other thing to search is appointment setting. Okay, appointment setting. Appointment setting means someone who will go out there and I think actually different people say appointment setting in different ways, but appointment setting for marketing means people who will actually go out and try to get appointments, that those free calls for you. And of course, you might need to instruct them on where they might find someone like that, or what outreach message you will collaborate with that person to do that. Okay, and people can do this for you for, there are people who are willing to do this for you for $5 an hour. Lots of people, $5 to $10 an hour for appointment setting and kind of lead generation. I mean, the people who are $5 an hour may need a lot more instruction, a lot more help from you to do that. Someone who are more experienced, $10, $15 an hour, when you outsource it to a country like Philippines or India, will be able to actually help generate the leads in the first place as well. So that's level 1, okay? Level 2 in your lifetime of your business is then you will use your visibility plan to grow your audience, and then whenever you need to fill your coaching program or services, you simply announce it through your visibility channels, your email list, your social media, or whatnot, and people sign up. And you might launch it by sending several emails to your list over a course of a few weeks. And your visibility plan, I've given you the instructions on how to create that right here in the mind map itself, called the visibility. Okay. Let me actually, at level 3 is once you have enough happy clients, you will be able to just ask them to refer you, and then if you make it easy for them to refer you, meaning you send them a sample email that they could send to their friends and colleagues, okay, things like that. Then level 3 is when you have enough happy clients where you ask them, they will refer you, and you will have enough clients for the next round of clients that you need. And level 4 is you have such an excellent match based on experience, based on running your services for a while and learning how to tweak your service so that it's an even better match to your ideal clients. Your thing is such a good match, and you do such a good job that enough of your past clients just spontaneously refer you, so that you don't even have to do any asking of them. That's level 4. That's where and your service is such a good match that it sells itself. That's where we're all trying to go. That's why I call this a launch trajectory. It's really a lifetime trajectory for our businesses. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to start wrapping up this episode by encouraging you to come and read the rest of this mind map. But I'm going to wrap this up because one of the feedback I got from my audience members is to keep the episodes shorter. And I may end up doing 15-minute episodes from now on, but I certainly will keep it just at 30 minutes or less. And so I invite you to come back here. And one of the some of the important things I didn't get to talk about in this episode, but it's right here in the mind map, right here. All the details are here for you to peruse and really get some instructions and links and tools on, are things like to get feedback about your launch, and to do it from a trusted group, such as a group of friends or a group of colleagues that you all commit to each other to help each other with launches, right? Or just a single friend. Get feedback about your launch. Conduct some split testing. Split testing is when you send a group of people, send it to your email list, and they come to your web page, and you've installed a certain software where 50% of the people see version A of your website, 50% see version B, and you can see which version of your website performs better. Let's say B performs better, then you can split test version B into, make certain changes so that you have B1 and B2. So that's what split testing is. You could also split test your email campaigns. I do that all the time. And anyway, I have some more instructions for you and resources for you there. So the last thing about launching is that eventually you also want to reach out to partners who can refer you to their audiences if it's the right match and if you have good enough incentive for that partner. And as you talk to those potential partners, they will also give you really good feedback that will help your launch be more successful. So the last thing I want to show you on this mind map is the frequently asked questions. And some of the frequently asked questions are things like, I don't have enough time to launch my business. What if people aren't buying? What if I have doubts? How do I be confident enough to launch? Things like that. They're right here in the frequently asked questions section of the mind map. So I invite you to come and take a look at it. So that's all I want to share in the mind map today. And I sincerely hope that this has been helpful for you. As always, if it has been helpful, I would really appreciate if you can at least click like on the video. To a single like actually helps more people find the video. If you're just listening to this podcast, and if you liked it, it would really be helpful for me and for this community, the growth of this community, if you can share the link www.ourhighestwork.com. Share it with a friend or a colleague who is also trying to build a business and doing it in an authentic way. I so appreciate you for doing that. And until our next episode, I'm going to actually remind you of the quote again that we talked about, which is by Ralph Waldo Emerson: "Do not be too timid or squeamish about your actions. All of life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better." So until our next episode, I encourage you to keep your thoughts positive, to keep your heart open, and remember that all will be perfectly well.